Why would you ask for more money? It seems empty. If you're already working in a job for, say, 50, that's your wage, 50, and you've been working for 50 for a couple of years, you decide to go to your boss and say, I would like 60. Now, here's what you may not be aware of. Every single person who has a job, I wouldn't say every single person, let's say 90% of people that have jobs currently believe that they are underpaid. And this is across every job, from the bottom to the top, every industry, every country. It's pretty much a universal belief for about 90% of people that have jobs. They all believe that they should be paid more because they're worth more. What that means is that if you are a manager and you have 10 employees under you, 10 direct reports, 9 of those 10 believe they should be paid more. Now, of those 9 people, probably about half at least have communicated that to you and said, like, I should get paid more. Can I have a raise? Can you, like, seriously, can you give me a raise? I feel that, and then they insert whatever seemingly logical argument, and then at the end of the day, it's just, I deserve more money. I want more money. Now, the problem is that generally speaking, these are all generalizations because I have no specifics to go on in this case. Generally speaking, bosses don't have the ability to just pay out more money to everyone. Their budgets are tight. So the general rule, more often than not, it's not that they don't want to pay you more, it's that they can't. Okay, they are under constraints. Usually it's the opposite. They are under constraints to do more with less, rather than, oh, here's more, now produce the same result. You know what I mean? Those employees that you already have working for you, keep them working for you, but let's just pay them more, right? Usually what bosses are specifically tasked with is, we're going to give you less, now produce more results, get more productive, right? And they have to deliver on this, or sometimes they're fired. Their job depends on it, right? So that's what you don't see. The other thing is that forget about what your boss's perspective is. Look at the situation. You are already working for 50. You've stayed there working for 50, thus demonstrating that you are worth 50. If you were grossly underpaid, all things being equal, someone else would have offered you a much better job and you'd have taken it by now, right? So you've demonstrated that you're worth 50 by the fact that you've stayed there working for 50 for quite a while. Now you're turning around and saying, well, no, I think I'm worth 60. Now, all that leads to this. The boss's default response, all things being equal, is going to be, well, I think you're bluffing. You may feel that you're worth that amount, but you're not. How you feel is not a determinant of how much you're worth. You know, I'm not worth what I feel I'm worth. I'm worth what the world will pay me, right? I could feel that I'm worth $1 million a year, but if nobody's lining up to pay me, if nobody's even lining up to pay me $100,000 a year, how can I say that I'm worth $1 million? What evidence do I have to back that up? You know? This all sounds very pessimistic, doesn't it? Well, here's what you do. If you feel honestly that you're underpaid and that you're worth more, maybe that's true. Now, if it is, go out and validate it, prove it, test it. Get an offer in your hand for 60. You're being paid 50 now? You think that's too low? Get an offer in your hand for 60. Now, some people will be able to do this because they are in fact underpaid. Now, if these people are willing to pay you 60, now you have a choice. You could either leave and go and get 60 from working for them, or you could go back to your boss and you could say, here's a deal. I believe I'm underpaid. You're paying me 50. I believe I'm worth 60, but I actually believe I'm worth a little more. So I would very much like for you to give me a raise to, say, 65. Do you feel you can do that? Or can you at least give me, say, 60? It would persuade me to keep on working here, you know, and I would be motivated to do a great job. Okay, now, as I said, their initial probable response is probably going to be no, sorry, because they think it's a bluff, because most employees bluff. So that's what they're going on. So you say, okay, no problem. Listen, I understand completely. No hard feelings. Here's my notice. Okay, and then you back that up. And then usually they're taken aback by this. And then you follow through. You work your notice and you leave. Now, if they honestly can't pay you more than 50, you'll just end up leaving and going to the company that pays you 60. If they could, in fact, pay you more than 50, excuse me, if they could pay you more than 60, if they wanted, and they honestly did feel that you were a real asset to them. Oh my God, my throat. Excuse me. If they felt that and they were able to pay you more, then they have the option of turning around and saying, wait, let's not do anything hasty. Okay, they just wanted to see that you weren't bluffing because you actually worked your notice and then you didn't come to work, you didn't flinch, and they call you the first day after your notice period when you're at home. And they say, come on back, you got your money. Because they know that you're cheaper to have as an employee than for them to go out and try and recruit someone to replace you, train them, and they would probably have to start that person at 60 because that is the market price now. So that's usually how these things play out in my experience. Bosses don't just give you more money because you ask for it. Even if you're an honestly awesome employee that they do value and they do know you're being underpaid, their first thing will not be to grant that. They'll try and resist. There are some exceptions, but that's the general rule. And you have to force their hand. And if you are worth what you believe you are worth, then you should be able to prove that, validate it by getting other opportunities lined up. Okay? And then whichever way it works out, you're going to be working for 60 for somebody. Okay? That's how that stuff works. You never know. Sometimes you work in a place where your boss doesn't think very highly of you. You're actually quite valuable, but for whatever reason, they don't see you like that, you know? And you could make more money working for somebody else that actually sees your value, you know? This would be a way of exposing that.